Hi everyone, this is Crafty Decoria. I hope you're all doing great. So today I am sharing a project share, a centerpiece that I am making for my kitchen table. I am using all items from the Dollar Tree, and to start off I will be constructing the base of my centerpiece, and for that I will be using 3 of these brown rectangular baskets. And what I've done, they will be going this way, but I've just flipped them all upside down and placed them side by side. And using the cable ties from the Dollar Tree, this pack has 3 different sizes, large, medium, and small. I'm just going to be taking the large ones, and then here I've already done one. I just cable tied the 2 baskets together enough that I can flip it over, and then once the 3 of them are together, we'll move on to the next step. I also wanted to show you that when I thread my cable tie through, I went below the handle and then over through the handle, because I don't want the cable tie to be on the bottom of the basket, as I want the basket to sit flat. Okay, so I have flipped my baskets upside down again, so the top of the centerpiece is touching the ready board. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace around the baskets. Now the ready board is not long enough, so I am going to have to add a little piece at the end, but I will cut the biggest part. I will trace it and then I will cut it out, and once I have my 2 pieces cut out, I will glue them on top of the basket so that I have a nice flat surface and there's no gaps in between the baskets. Now, using my knife, I'm just going to cut my strip out of the ready board. Cut my 2 pieces of the ready board, my longer piece as well as the shorter piece that I had to add on to the end. Now, I didn't cut it absolutely perfect, but I am going to hot glue the ready board onto the basket now, and once it's glued on, I could just go around with my knife and cut off any uneven edges. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get it close as possible. Then what I will be doing is I will be taking my felt and I will be covering the top of the ready board, and it will be overlapping a little bit on the basket, but that's no problem, because I then will take my nautical rope and I will begin wrapping all the way around so that extra felt will be covered up and the baskets will be covered up as well, so you won't see a gap in between and it'll look like one solid piece. So taking my felt pieces, here is my piece, like a rectangle, and I'm just going to fold it in half, like that, and then I will cut it, and once it is cut, I will glue it over top of my ready board, and then whatever is hanging, I will just glue that down to the basket. Felt is now hot glued to the top and around the edges of the basket. So now I'm going to take my nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. This is by Craft Decor, and it is 0.2 inches by 14.7 feet. And starting from the top, I'm going to hot glue it all the way around the 3 baskets until all the baskets are completely covered in the nautical rope. So I am up to about 3.5 rolls or bunches of the nautical rope. What I decided to do, my original plan was I was going to wrap it all the way down to the bottom. And then the more I was thinking about it, I kind of liked the look of the basket. And what I ended up deciding was I'm going to stop about here, and then just around the solid lip of the basket at the bottom there, I'm going to do about 2 or 3 rows of the nautical rope, because I still want to be able to have my handles on the ends. So if I want to pick it up, I can pick it up from there. And this way I figured as well, if I wanted to, I could also add lights to underneath the centerpiece, so it would actually give more light inside. So I have finished wrapping my baskets with the nautical rope, and I would say I used about 4.5 bunches of the nautical rope. I have about half left over, and I will be using just a couple little strips of that, and I'll show you what I'll be using that for. But I have decided that I'm just going to go ahead and paint what you can see of the baskets, because I just really think that I'm not going to get around anytime soon to making another one of these. And because there is the nautical rope, I think the metallic silver acrylic paint will just stand out a lot nicer, and it'll tie everything in together for how I will be using the centerpiece right now. So next time, a note to myself, I will spray the baskets if I end up making another one of these, either spray painting them or painting them before I go ahead and wrap the nautical rope around. But I'm just going to do my best and paint what I can see, and hopefully it ends up looking good. But moving on to the trees and pails, which is what I'm going to be placing on top of the centerpiece, I am using 3 of the Dollar Tree trees, and you could definitely just keep them like when you open them up and they have the spaces in between the branches. I actually love how that looks, but because this is a centerpiece that I'm placing on my table, I want to tame it down a bit. I don't want it to be so wild. So what I decided to do was, instead of going and purchasing more of the wired branches to fill in the gaps, what I ended up doing was, after I opened up my tree, as you can see on the bottom, I did the bottom row. All I did was I took a branch and then I turned it in. And I did that all the way around the tree to every branch. This way I am filling in the tree without adding anything else to it, and it's making the tree a little bit smaller, which for this purpose of a centerpiece on my table, I actually like it better. So once I have finished curling all my branches in, I get what looks like this. And I love the way this tree looks like this. I'm only placing lights on here, so it just looks nice and full, and it works perfectly for this piece. So I will do that to all 3 of my trees, and what I will be placing them in is in the Dollar Tree Flowers and Garden galvanized looking pail. What I ended up doing was, because I want this to be in my home throughout the year, I want to be able to customize this for every season. So in the spring and summer this would look better, but I wanted to have it where I could use it for every season. So what I did was I just took some acetone and I took out the lettering. The only thing I left was the "and," because if you don't want to add the chalkboard, the banner, the wooden plate that I painted with the chalk paint, you could leave that out, so you'd save on that, purchasing the magnets, and then you could just customize the pail seasonally. So that's another option. I left this because if I just decide that I want to use these trees on their own, then I can customize it and then get more uses out of it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the lettering to the pails, and I'm not gluing this tree in here because it sits very nicely on its own. So once I have all 3 finished, I'll place them in their pails and then add the LED light string to each of the trees. So moving on, I have my wooden pieces, so the 2 banners and the 2 sleighs. The banners I will be painting with the Chalk It Up chalk paint from the Dollar Tree, and then the sleigh I will be painting with the silver metallic acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to give them a couple of coats and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so moving on to my sleighs. So I did paint them in the silver and they look adorable. Now I will be attaching a horse to each sleigh. This centerpiece is specifically themed for Jingle Bells. So in Jingle Bells, there is the line that says, "Dashing through the snow in a 1-horse open sleigh." So I decided to pick up these horses at the Dollar Tree. To attach the horse to the sleigh, all I'm going to do is take some more of my nautical rope. I'm just going to make a loop like that, and I'm going to fit it around the horse's neck. Then I'll just tack it down with a little bit of hot glue, and then one end I will attach to this piece of the sleigh here. I'll just wrap it around and glue it in place, and then I'll cut off this end the same length and then do the same thing, wrap it around and glue it in place. So I will do that with both of the horses and the sleighs. Okay guys, so we're just about to the finish line. I have one more step to do before I can put everything together. You can see the baskets are painted with the silver metallic paint, acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love how this looks. So much better than when they were brown. I think it's just gonna tie everything together. So what I need to do is I painted my chalkboard, or I painted my wooden pieces with the chalkboard paint. I need to put 2 magnets on the back of each wooden piece, as well as 2 magnets where the center basket is. Now I'm going to place those magnets so that once I place my wooden piece, it's going to cover up those gaps between the baskets. I don't mind the gaps, but if I'm going to be putting this, I might as well cover them so that it looks like one complete piece. And I'm also going to try to place these magnets in a way that whether the basket is this way or whether I flip it over, this wooden piece is going to sit nicely either way. So let me go ahead, glue those all together, and then I will show you what this piece looks like once everything is put together. I can't wait to show you. So I have placed my magnets on. Now, one thing that I would recommend, if you are going to make something like this, then I would recommend that you get a wooden piece, or if you really like this one, and this one I chose because it was very fitting with the centerpiece that I'm putting together. But what I would recommend if you're using this one is just trim this area here, because what I ended up finding out is that the ribbon wooden piece here is wider than the baskets, and so when I go to turn it around, it's not staying on as secure as I would want it to. It is on there, and if you get it in the right spot, it will stay fine. But if you had a wooden rectangular piece that fit in between the baskets, then there would be no problem at all, because it would stay on there nice and secure. This one here, it just has a little bit more design to it. It's wider, so it's not going to sit as nicely as I would want it to. But for the way I'm using this centerpiece, it sits absolutely fine. It actually sits better when I have it flipped over the other way around. So just a little note, if this is something again that interests you, I would probably just either trim this down or go with a thinner piece that fits nicely and sits flat against the baskets. Now I'm going to go ahead and put everything together, turn this around, and show you what my finished centerpiece looks like. I can't wait to show you. Okay guys, so here is my project share, my Dashing Through the Snow centerpiece, and I absolutely love how this has turned out. Now I will say that this project share, which is why I pretty much wrote it as a project share, because I did get quite a few items to put together to make this piece. So it wasn't one of my more inexpensive DIYs to do, but because I was making it for myself, I really had an idea of what I wanted on the center of my table, and so I just purchased what I needed to put that together to come up with this piece. However, I justify spending what I did because this piece does not have to just be kept this way. And when you live in a smaller home, you don't always have the storage to store all of the decor. So it's really nice when you can have a piece that you can keep out all year long and then change it out seasonally. This is a fairly large piece. My table is a good sized table, and this piece is a really good sized piece. So the great thing is, when I want to keep it this way, I can. When I want to remove the trees with the pails, I can group them together somewhere else, or I can spread them out throughout my home. If I want to add a bunch of candles to the top of the baskets there and add a little bit of greenery, it completely changes the piece. If I want to flip the baskets over and then add flowers to make a really pretty floral piece, I can do that. If I want to line the baskets, you know, with something and then add some fruit in there and keep it on the center of my table, I can do that as well. This piece can be used in so many ways so that even if I did spend a little bit more to make this, I don't have to only keep it one way. And so that's why I didn't mind doing it. And even just keeping it this way, I absolutely love it. With the pails, I had mentioned that you could customize them, but I forgot to mention a great way of doing that is at the Dollar Tree. Jot sells the self-adhesive alphabet stickers. It has the alphabet and then numbers as well. I can't remember how many are on a sheet, but you do get quite a bit, and you get at least 2 or 3 of each letter. I didn't have any on hand, or I would have just done this up to show you how adorable it looks, but you can customize the pails that way. Also with the chalkboard sign, I can customize it for the seasons as well. So again, I can really change this piece up to always give it a fresh new look, and that's just what I love about it. The trees, I love that I was able to, even though the size of the tree is a little bit smaller, they are full. And I didn't have to purchase anything else to do that. All I did was I just folded in the branches and it filled the tree up nicely. And I just love the shape of the tree, and it works perfectly for this piece since it's on my table. I did want to add height to this, but I didn't want it to be so full that I couldn't see through to the other side. So that was great. The basket, I can't believe what a difference it made just adding a little bit of paint, and I did not use hardly much paint at all. I just used a little bit. I brushed it on there. In some areas it's lighter, in some areas the paint is a little bit thicker, but I just love how this looks. It really changed up the basket, the bottom of the centerpiece, and it tied everything in so nicely together. The horses and the sled. This was so fun to put together. I had an itty bitty piece of a buffalo check scarf from the Dollar Tree left over from the red truck banner, farmhouse banner that I did. I will post a link in the description box below if you have not seen that video. And as I said, I just had a tiny piece left over, so I cut it up and I added to the inside of the sled to make it look like a little blanket in there, just to make it nice and cozy. And then with another little piece, I draped it over the horse. So I did that to both sides, and then in the center I placed a little tea light candle to make this piece even more warm and bright. And I love it. I just love how it has come together. This is definitely a piece that I will enjoy throughout the whole year. I'll have a lot of fun changing it up, but this is how I pictured this piece on my table, and I couldn't be happier with how it has turned out. So I really hope that you enjoyed this project share. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share the video if you can, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And as always, guys, you take care of yourselves, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.